Honkai Star Rail came out on April 26, 2023, and has unveiled many new and amazing characters constantly. At the time of recording, there are 39 playable characters, with the most recent being Argenti and Hanyo. Today, I want to go through my top 10 favorite characters, so far of course, in Star Rail, and tell you a bit about why I like them, and why certain characters have stood out more than others. With all that said and done, let's begin. With so many wonderful characters, first comes some honorable mentions of course. I'll try to keep these as brief as possible since people will be more curious about the top 10. My honorable mentions consist of Sushong, who is extremely nice and had a wonderful presence all throughout the Aramali side quest. Also, I would like to add this screenshot of her is one of the only ones I've ever taken in this game. Next up is Bronya and Seele. These two came in a pair for most of the Belobog storyline, and both are absolutely fantastic characters in both story and actual gameplay. The journey Bronya goes on, and how Seele gradually warms up is fantastic to witness, and made Belobog a great time. Next comes Natasha. Not much to say here really. She's sweet, a great person, and has a very interesting companion mission that I would highly recommend to understand the character better. Lastly, we have Welt. This dude is just cool. He's the greatest butt-kicking grandpa you'll ever see, and his consistent, calm attitude is a breath of fresh air in a sea of overactivity with March and silent brooding with Dan Hong. Alright, that's the mentions done. Let's get straight into it with number 10, the Trailblazer. I love the Trailblazer as an avatar. Their style is fantastic, their weapon choice is unmatched, and their dialogue options, while a little suspicious at times, are always either funny or well written. It's hard to leave this character off because this is the main character, and this is who a big part of the game is focused on. However, without talking a lot and not really having a super discernible personality, this is the best I'll do for now, to let some other characters have some real shine. Number 9, Dan Hong. Ah yes, Mr. Lonely and Brooding himself. I do usually like female characters more unless the male character is extremely well written or is the main character, and Dan Hong just happens to check one of those boxes. His personal story is absolutely fascinating, and I loved experiencing the story of the Xianshou Lufu, with him being a pivotal part. His design in his Vidyadra form is also absolutely stunning, and radiates the power someone of that status should have. Dan Hong isn't perfect, but he is pretty good in everything that counts. Number 8, Clara. I hate children. I've said it before, but I find kids annoying, and I struggle dealing with them usually. Fictional children though? Usually a bit better. And Clara specifically? Way better. Clara is the most precious thing in this game. She is so sweet and has such a nice background and personality. She wants so badly to help that she has matured herself a great deal to be of assistance to the underworld, and she constantly performs in that aspect. Clara as a character is also fantastic for one reason. As you can see, she doesn't even fight. Svarog just pops up and beats the hell out of her enemies when they hit her. And that's awesome! Easily the best child in Star Rail. Good job, Clara. Also, please put on some shoes. How are you not cold? Number 7, Asta. I will say, I always say Asta, and I probably will default to it again later. Just saying now. Now, we have Asta, who realistically doesn't have a huge role, all things considered. She appears in the beginning of the game, and is a very welcome presence alongside the Astral Express crew. But Star Rail hasn't directed the story back to the space station since then. Where Asta shines for me is the personality on display in companion quests on the station and her gameplay. Asta is sweet and incredibly well-meaning, if not a little irresponsible with the money she has. Her gameplay is also something I love, with the massive weakness damage and break damage I get from her bounce skill. Seriously, I love this move so much. Her design is also quite lovely. It kinda looks like they just said make a researcher, but hotter, and it worked out for some reason? Last thing I'll say is I love Asta's voice. By far one of my favorite VAs in Star Rail, and a good voice is always gonna be bonus points. Number 6, Guifen. So as I'm writing this, Guifen has not really been fleshed out that much. She was featured in Ethereum Wars and received a part in the Trailblaze continuance on the Lufu. It's hard to validate putting her this high, but everything I've seen about her, I absolutely love. Guifen has one of the best outfits and aesthetics in the entire game. The orange hair and red dress combo look amazing, and her personality and attitude is just as great. Another wonderful voice actor tops off why Guifen is such a fun character to me. While she still isn't a major part of the game, she definitely deserves more attention as a whole. Number 5, Japar. Japar is a Chad. It's as simple as that. Kind-hearted, strong as all hell, and please listen to this voice line.
I grow flowers. It's just that I'm not very good at it.
Belobog was definitely my favorite part of the story so far, and it makes sense with the pics looking back. Japar's diligence and loyalty to a fault is absolutely respectable, and his warmer moments interacting with his sisters and the crew after their adventures on Belobog paint him in the much more relatable light. He is in fact just a captain doing his best for his people, and that's what has earned him this spot. Also, those posters in Belobog, magical. Japar, never give up art. Ever. Number 4, Serval. Alright, and at this point, anyone who knows me can probably predict where this list is going if I have Serval at 4. Serval could easily be number 1. Wonderful personality in terms of humor, a little bit of sass, and the compassion she shows the Trailblazer at all times make her absolutely incredible. Not only a wonderful personality, but her background and story is wonderful as well. A talented musician and singer, a genius mechanic, and her mission of letting go of the grief she felt towards Cocolia was an unreal experience and one of the top quests in the game for me. Serval is a magnificent character who I've used ever since I got her early on, and she will continue to be a top character for me. Number 3, March 7th. This was something I realized only when going through the list of characters to make this top 10. Man, I really like March. I will say, she gets an unfair bonus because she is a character you'll see constantly because of the story, but standing out this much even with that bonus is just deranged. March is one of the sweetest characters in the game, and constantly wants to do good for others. She's also responsible for some of the best comedic moments in the game, while also balancing a harrowing backstory that would deeply affect anyone else. A character ridden with some bad trauma that they've pushed past is always something that gets me, and March is no different. On top of all of this, her shielding in the early phases of the game was huge for me, and something I still abuse constantly to make my way through fights. It's hard to top March, and she comes in as easily the second best Astral Express member to me. As for the number 1 crew member, however, number 2, Himiko. These last 2 choices are made purely off of vibes, if I'm being honest. I know what I like, and I can say confidently that I like Himiko. I mean, it's hard to argue when these were the first words I said when seeing Himiko.
At least you're back.
Oh.
They weren't even real words. Himiko has not received the same light as a character like March, but a bit more than someone like Guifen. In this time, Himiko presents herself as a lot of things. Incredibly competent, dependable, kind, and the reliable navigator the Astral Express needs. Himiko has had a huge hand in the events of Belobog, in both the initial outing and against the IPC. Not only that, but she was the one responsible for starting this magical journey in the first place. From her wonderful dialogue and fabulous appearance, to her phenomenal voice acting and incredibly fun gameplay, Himiko is a standout in every single way. It's gotta be pretty hard to top that, right? And now, number 1. If you know me, you all know who it is. It's the one, the only. Pom Pom, get out here, buddy! Yeah, no. It's Tingyun. This is my biased choice, and I will hear no complaints. I think quite a few other characters are a bit better written, and if you know Tingyun's story, you know she doesn't get as much time to shine as others. That doesn't deter me in the slightest, though. First off, this is my favorite appearance and design in the entire game. I love how she looks. I'm a big Shield Hero fan, and I definitely blame Raphtalia for being so likable in that show. By the way, please go watch Season 3 of Shield Hero. Or if you just haven't watched it, please go watch Shield Hero. Thanks. Tingyun does have plenty of other positives, though. Once again, an incredible vocal job by the actor that cannot be appreciated enough. Her personality is similarly very interesting. She slowly develops trust in the crew over time, while still taking some jabs and being a bit sassy to the Trailblazer. While I can't talk much about the ending of the LeFou, the gifts Tingyun gives to friends of hers represent just how thoughtful she really is, and how much she pays attention even when putting on her business facade. All of this without even acknowledging her gameplay, being one of the most pivotal party members for multiple powerful team comps. Tingyun is an absolute gem of a character, and she is still by far my favorite in the game. And that's it! My criteria wasn't always the exact same from character to a character, but a list like this was incredibly hard to make, but I had a wonderful time writing and preparing this. If you enjoyed the list at all, make sure to like the video, and maybe even subscribe if you're feeling generous. It would go a long way to helping the channel grow. With that said, thank you for watching, and I hope you look forward to the next video. See ya!